So in my recent videos, I've been using the switch a lot. And in my last video's comments, people were asking me, what if they didn't have a switch and they only had a V60? Well, fun fact is I actually never use my switch in my cafe. It's almost always on a V60. Very occasionally will I be using a switch. So it actually doesn't make very much sense for me to be doing switch related videos. So today I will actually be doing my cafe's version of an ice pour over. I'll be explaining how I replicate the cupping theories that in the last video, but done in a V60. So essentially an iced coffee is just brewing a very strong coffee, in my case a 1 to 11, and then diluting it with ice to hit the 1 to 15 or the 1 to 16. Now it depends on the water temperature and whatever, but roughly the 1 to 11 is generally my go-to ratio. Now, in the last video, I was talking about how you have to elongate the first part of the brew so you can prep the grounds so that it is ready to absorb the next bit of water. Well, in coffee, we like to call this blooming, right? But for me, I've always struggled with the idea of blooming. Now, blooming works a lot better in really dark coffees. There's nothing against it. But when we're working with light and medium coffees, it tends to clog, and then I notice that the water moves through the paper filter instead of actually going through the coffee. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is kind of my medium to match that idea. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the grounds inside the coffee, inside the dripper, and then we're going to pour really low and slow, and we're just going to hit all the grounds. And we're only going to be doing 150 grams. So this is like a very big bloom. And then we're going to be waiting a couple of seconds before we add water to just stay in the middle and then wait for all the grounds to really move up. And we're going to stay really nice and slow and low. So this way we're going to keep the volume inside the dripper very low. I remember that I made a video a while back where I talked about how the different volume in the dripper creates different amounts of pressure. So for us to hit the higher agitation, we want to have less volume because the water puts more pressure on each particle that's inside the dripper. So by hitting the 150 grams and then letting it sink below the kind of edge line, we're just going to be adding water at a very slow pace, ideally the same rate that it's falling out, to assert a higher amount of water pressure on each particle. And alongside of that, I've been testing with the switch. Again, it's just because it's got the glass dripper. But when it's open, if you fill it past a certain point, the water noticeably just starts to move through the paper filter more. So this is called side channeling, and you don't want that because if the water doesn't pass through the coffee grounds, it is actually not extracting any of the flavors out. So by retaining a very low amount of volume inside your dripper, you're going to not have side channeling, or much less of it, because the water weight, once it gets past a certain height, is enough for the water to be pushed out the sides. So that, in theory, is what we're trying to do. We're trying to eliminate the amount of side channeling that happens. The water stays in the middle. The water puts a lot of pressure on the beans. And that is how we hit the 1 to 11 ratio. So I hope you like this video. This is actually the recipe that I use in my cafe, and I really love it. And a lot of my guests always love it, especially in the summer. It's really hot right now, so they always get it. So this is my go-to recipe for an iced coffee. Let me know in the comments below how you guys like this method, what you guys think about it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!